But you're gonna hit the video button too.
You're live.
Week 4, baby. Let's go.
With the Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought?
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
There's great class, everybody.
All I gotta say is, Greg Braggs, you are ridiculous.
Foles on third down to the end zone. It is Graham again. Same spot as back in the second quarter. His second touchdown today.
Throw, great catch. There's no way to stop that unless you're going to physically double him at the line. You're not going to stop that as a safety or a corner. Be okay. Eat a lot of clock up, making sure it's a two-score game.
2nd and 6. Catch is made by Robinson, and then he breaks free. Allen Robinson takes it all the way for a Bears touchdown.
You miss a tackle. Looks like another man. I sigh because it's.
There it is. In all its glory, the Nick Foles era has begun just like that. You know, it was an exciting week, and we're still kind of in. There it
There's the
is.
music.
We're getting it all on track.
There it is.
On the track. Don't you worry. We appreciate you joining us today here at Brags in the Stands tonight. Another Friday night special. We got David Kaplan joining us here in just a little bit, and we wanted to kick things off, you know, and look back at the week that was for Nick Foles, the introduction to Chicago Bears fans. And man, did he make his presence felt last week against the Atlanta Falcons? Yes, they had some injuries. Yes, they were, you know, they had a huge lead. The game was over, and Nick Foles came out and pulled a miracle. You saw those 2 touchdowns that kind of set the foundation for the moment that was. And then, of course, Nick Foles finished it off with it.
Let's see how that looks.
Third down and 8 with the Bears already in field goal range. The pass is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Anthony Miller. The Chicago Bears take the lead with 1:53 remaining.
Going to run up and in and call it a bang eight or a post route. This time he has more space than when he was closer in the red zone, allowed to just throw him. And Nick Foles does a great job leading him back across the field instead of up top. Lead him across the field where he can just trail the ball in.
Glorious. So I said, never gets old.
It really doesn't. You tweeted that out earlier in the week, and it really doesn't because, you know, Bears fans, you know, to see kind of just the way he took control of the offense. We've seen miraculous plays, even by Mitchell Trubisky, you know, but now Nick Foles comes in, he makes those big throws, but more so than that, the context behind that throw, you hear the story of him telling Anthony Miller in
Go
the
to
huddle,
the L.
Go to the L. And, you know, if he calls it right before, you know, the hot read or whatever you want to say it, whatever, you know, terminology you want to use, he calls it. He checks to Miller right before he says hike, so Miller knows that's what they're doing as soon as he sees it. And that kind of smarts and wits, I don't know if Bears fans are used to having. And, you know, it's exciting. I'm, you know, as someone that was a huge supporter of Mitchell Trubisky's, I'm excited for this week. I'm excited for the Nick Foles era to begin. I'm excited to see that combination, that marriage between Matt Nagy and Nick Foles, because, you know, we've seen Nick Foles for, you know, how many years? 12 years in the league. We've seen Matt Nagy with the Chicago Bears.
I think he's 30. I was dating him a little bit. I think he's only 31. So,
but we've never seen these two together in a starting offense with this offense, with these guys. You know, the biggest loss is losing Tariq Cohen, because I think he would have went crazy, you know. He
had a great little check down to Tariq that went for like 25, 30 yards. That was huge in the game. So it really sucks to lose Tariq.
So you hear today, the breaking news of the day was that Lamar Miller signs with the Chicago Bears. So they're going to add to that running back room. And I like the move because you need depth, regardless of, you've got, you know, Ryan Nall, who can, you know, maybe do a couple things. And then you've got Cordero Patterson, who's really shown that he can be a weapon in different ways. And I think his role will expand. I picked him up on fantasy and dropped him, and picked him up and then dropped him. I don't know. I think he might have an expanded role. If the Bears can keep finding their way to the red zone, I think he's somebody that could become an option, because, you know, they're going to be covering, you know, Jimmy Graham and Allen Robinson will get all the attention. And I think Cordero Patterson will have chances for opportunities. But I like the addition of Lamar Miller to the running back room. This is a guy that, you know, used to be a RB1 for the Houston Texans at one point in his career. And obviously those days are, and the Dolphins too. So, I mean, I'll take it. There were other options available, but this is a guy that obviously has played in the league and been a starter. So
had success.
Had success. So any addition is a welcomed addition at this point. You never know with other injuries that can come into play. So you got to be ready. And I like the addition of Lamar Miller. So,
yeah, I think there's some familiarity with Bill Lazor there as well. So he, you know, he's come into a situation where he has a little familiarity with the coach. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. So moving on to Nick Foles. We heard from Nick Foles this week. He spoke to the press for the first time as the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and he was asked a few questions, and I pinpointed a few to try to bring into the conversation, and we can react to those. And the first one, he was asked about, you know, his fear of failure, if he's not afraid of it, or what is the case with that.
Hey, Nick, Frank referred to you as fearless and said that you don't get tied up mentally or emotionally with failure. I wondered what your sort of reaction to that assessment was. And as you reflect on your journey, is that something, when did you know you had that?
I think that's more just life. The book of James in the Bible talks about trials. And if you read it, finding joy within trials. I think so many times as people, we think when we have a bad game or a bad moment or something, like the world is against us. And that's not really the case. And I've said it over and over again that the tough times have really, they're not fun, but they equip you for what's ahead as long as you approach it with the right heart. Definitely not easy. But I think what Frank's trying to say is I've been very blessed throughout my life whenever I've had tough times or had trials to not only have my faith there to grow from, but to have people like Frank and other people to lift me up and be there for me. And I can do that for others as well. And that's really why I play the game, is you get an opportunity to instill confidence and calmness with your teammates and your coaches in a chaotic moment. And that's just something throughout the years, going through trials, going through tough times, and that is just equipped. And, it's never fun to go through those tough times, but it's a big reason while stepping in those moments that I just don't worry about it too much. I just go out there and be fearless as much as I can.
Yeah, he's got the right mentality. I mean, he's very wise for his years. I think that goes a long way, having that sort of cool, calm confidence that I'm not sure Mitch had at all times.
He's probably got something to learn from Nick in that regard, because it looks like he's going to have a similar kind of career path where he's going to have to fight for every inch that he gets. And Nick Foles had nothing handed to him early on in his career, and he's had different moments of success, and that didn't get him handed anything until last year when he finally got a big contract from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And where did that lead him? Off the team within a year, and Gardner Minshew was already replacing him. So the NFL stands for not for long, and he has found a way to fight through that and still have a role in this league and win a championship in this league and win a Super Bowl MVP in this league. So he knows you get in where you can fit in. And I think Nick Foles really, exemplifies that. And I think Mitch Trubisky is going to have a lot to learn from Nick Foles, not only in the way that he operates an offense, but in the way that, he carries himself through failure and success in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, me too. And
whole week of preparation.
Absolutely. There's going to be, the other team gets a week to prepare, but they don't have much tape on them. So that will be an interesting dynamic because, I think that Nagy and Foles do have an element of surprise here, because you don't know what other than what they ran against the Falcons. They've got a whole playbook to kind of go through and open up. And Matt Nagy hasn't ran this offense. He's been running a different offense for Mitchell Trubisky. So that'll be interesting. And Nick Foles was asked with his familiarity with this offense with Matt Nagy, and he touched on
Talk about your familiarity with the offense and the coaches, with Coach Nagy and a couple of the assistants that you've worked with. And when we've asked you about that in the past, you've talked about how there might be some slight nuances or differences with the terminology. Where do you think you are right now? Are you 100% comfortable with the offense, or do you still feel like you still have a little learning to do with the Bears version of the offense that you're familiar with?
I feel really comfortable, and I think that going in this week, there's been a lot of great conversations, and even last game, I felt more of myself when I stepped into that situation, just playing and getting to just do things that I like to do in a chaotic situation. So it's, I'm definitely a lot more comfortable than I was, but, that's what this week will be great to go out there and practice and get a preparation week and go through the plays and study the plays and watch practice after practice and fine tune everything. So, I'm hoping by the time it's game time, we've grown even more.
Yeah. And that's pretty reassuring. I mean, this is a guy that had no off season with the team. I believe he had a child, so he didn't participate in a lot of the extracurriculars that the team was doing. He comes into camp, gets beaten by Mitchell, but I mean, honestly, the competition was neck and neck. Mm-hmm. I think they gave the nod to the kid for giving him a shot, but he feels super comfortable, and that is really reassuring because you need him to step in and do exactly what he did last week. So for him to say that he's comfortable, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And you saw that confidence kind of work its way through the entire team as they built that comeback. It'll be interesting to see how that translates into this week. And Nick Foles was asked about this week going into the game plan against the Colts and his input on the offense in the first few plays in the first quarter.
I'm just wondering how much you're looking forward to being part of the game plan this week, and what would your input be on the first 15?
I think anytime you have input and have a voice is extremely important. But another thing that's really important is the QB room. Mitch, Tyler, and I we all throughout this course of the year have depended on each other. Nothing changes. Obviously, there's different roles, and that's the toughest part about the game. But at the end of the day, I know I have great support from Mitch and Tyler, and going through this preparation week. So I'll lean a lot on them as we watch film and study. And then also talking to the coaches about what we see on film and where we think we can, attack the defense and be efficient.
I like it. Like he said, he knows what he's under control. He's, it's been there, done that kind of mentality here. So, I like hearing how he's going to have that input on those plays. You saw that if you go back and watch the Super Bowl video when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. The trick play they run in the end zone, the Eagles, what did they call it? The Philly special.
Philly special.
Nick Foles is the one that runs to Doug Peterson and suggests it to him. And Doug kind of gives him a second look. Like, the first look is kind of like, are you crazy? But it's like a quick one. And then he's like, let's do it. And that kind of connection between coach and quarterback is key. And I think that Matt Nagy and Nick Foles might have more of that because Nick Foles has been through this offense a lot more, has more confidence. You saw that last week. I wish I would have pulled the tape where he's talking to everybody on the sideline. Mitch is just trying to scratch and claw to hold his job, and it's commendable, his fourth quarter comebacks and all that stuff. But when you see a guy that's under control like that and then makes the plays in the fourth quarter, telling Anthony Miller where to go, and then he does happen.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to win you big-time games down the road.
Yeah, it's strategizing. It's more than rah-rah, let's go, guys. It's like, here's a plan, and it's drawing it up on the battlefield. I mean, it's pretty awesome to see, and it's pretty encouraging to have a guy that feels like he's in control like that.
Right, because it's not just about – it is about execution. You want to rally your team, but it's also about execution, and Nick Foles touched on exactly that when it comes to rallying around your teammates.
Hey, Nick, in your experience as a fill-in starter, have you felt teammates kind of gravitate to you and become more mentally tethered or create some kind of abstract connection? Or is that just kind of a myth that comes with winning in these situations?
No, I think it's just when you step in the huddle, guys can feel your, I guess, energy or like your composure or whatever it may be. And the thing is, just step in the huddle, just instilling confidence in the guys with how you say the play, what you do on the field, obviously the throws you make. That's, you can do those things in the locker room, but going on the field of battle in tough situations, being able to overcome them, gain confidence from your teammates. And that's where that's happened throughout my career. It's not one player. That's where we get it so wrong, is we think it's one player. No, it's a team. It's an organization. We have a great locker room here. We've had a crazy start to the season, but I've been in several locker rooms, and this is a really special locker room. And I think we forget that. We look too much at statistics and wins and losses, and you think too big. It's actually really simple. It's the guys that are tightest that believe in each other and don't waver and go out there and do their job because they care about the guy next to them. It's really that simple, but that's very hard to do because that means you actually have to know each other and get to know each other and care about each other. And, some people don't want to do that because it's a business. And if you approach it that way, it becomes difficult, in my opinion.
This man is a sage.
I love it because he's preaching to the choir when it comes to the way I look at a football team. And, I had the honor and opportunity to talk and interview Doug Plank this offseason, and he talked about that. He talked about exactly that, about it's not about them. To him, it wasn't about the money. It was about playing for his guys next to him, about having their back and knocking the guy out, knocking him on his ass for your teammates, and being competitive in that huddle and wanting to make that next play for the guy next to you. And you get so far down the road because it is a business sense that you lose sight of that. And it's understandable. These guys got to make money, but to win a championship, you got to find a way to push past all of that and truly come together as a team. Everybody loves the movie Remember the Titans, and that's the sentiment, but that's the goal. But there's real life that's attached to it. So it isn't all Disney movie. You gotta
Right.
find that balance, and wins kind of cure all that. And so, it's just kind of like, it feels like Foles will bring stability to this offense and this team.
Well,
Where it
there's
seemed
there's
like-
no way that the locker room hasn't bought into him, especially after last Sunday. You know what I mean? Everybody's got to be on board for this, especially the wide receivers have to be ecstatic. I know Anthony Miller is probably thrilled. I'm super pumped for Sunday. I want to see what this offense looks like with someone who is as cerebral as Foles is, and what kind of difference that makes.
It's the first test. I was listening to David Kaplan this morning, and we have him coming on in just a little bit. And he was interviewing the Colts play-by-play announcer, and he was saying that, this is a litmus test for both of these teams. And we're going to find out exactly who the Chicago Bears here are, because the Colts are more competitive than the first three teams they played. I had an opportunity to interview Patrick Manley for a quick second while we were doing that live looking at the finish line of the Bernie's Book Bank walk that I did with David Kaplan. And he said, a caveat was they have beaten 3 bad teams. So everyone, as excited as we are, we got to slow down and wait till they beat, a team kind of worthwhile before we start kind of really crowning this team, so to speak. So
they're 2-1. They lost to Jacksonville that opening game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're 2-1. So Jacksonville was able to take it to them pretty good. They put up a good amount of points on them that opening week. So, I mean, we'll get into this later, but I like how the Bears match up against them. And yes, their offensive line is absolutely stout. And yes, their defense is playing really well. But Rivers is a statue, and you can get him to make mistakes for sure. He's not getting out of the pocket. And similar to Matt Ryan wasn't getting out of the pocket. I think he might have a couple times. But, Philip Rivers ain't running on you. So if you can get some good pressure on him, feel good about that.
It'll be interesting, too, as far as the weather. That I think that's going to play a huge factor into Sunday, whether or not it's going to be cold and rainy or just cold. So we'll see what happens, and we welcome Chubbs and everyone to the chat. I see Evan Wells and a few other people.
Did you see that? Pull up Evan's comment for a second.
I'm sorry, which one?
Right there.
The latest one?
Have you heard about this? I haven't heard anything about it. Nagy and Pace at odds behind the scenes?
No, I mean, you saw the comment from Mark Sanchez about thinking that it wasn't, it wasn't cool of Nagy to bench Mitch that quick, that it was a quick hook. And maybe there is, because it was clearly a quick hook. There's no denying that anymore. It was a quick hook. I mean, he made his first huge, they were struggling the first 2 weeks, but the first huge mistake he made, he was gone, and they were 2-0. You typically don't see a guy get benched when they're 2-0 halfway through the third quarter, but we all know the history in the last 3 years. There's bigger context than just the fact that they're 2-0, and I'm the biggest staunch supporter of Mitchell Trubisky's, but hey, if Matt wants to go with the guy he trusts, I'm not going to fight him, especially when you see the results that finished. Now, let's see what happens this week. Fine, I'm not, but if Nick has struggles, you're not going to see me starting to beat the drum back for Mitch. They need to give
I
Nick
think
time,
that's over.
Just like they needed to give Mitch a chance. They need to give Nick a chance here. They're 2-0 or 3-0. I would just want them to win football games. I know everybody thinks I'm a Mitchie Pom-Poms guy, but I just want to see them win football games. So we all need to move on from the Mitch-Nick thing for the time being, because until Nick is, banged up or anything like that, God forbid, we're not going to hear about that story. So one final thought that Nick Foles had, and I thought it was an interesting one, because this is the thing that Nick Foles does the best, in my opinion, is throw that deep ball. You saw it on the final play to Anthony Miller, how he hit him right where it needed to be in stride. And he was asked about his deep ball arc and kind of the way he drops it in the bucket. You saw some phenomenal throws on his way to a Super Bowl MVP that season. So he was asked about that.
Frank was talking about your deep ball being unique in that it had a little bit of arc to it. Have you always thrown it that way? Is that a conscious decision? Is that just kind of the way you throw a football? How did that evolve, particularly on the deep shot?
I think it's just more of a feel thing. Just understand the speed and the angle of the receivers and where they're going to be, and just letting it rip. Just from throwing the ball a lot throughout my life, I think that's the big thing. There's nothing special about it. It's a feel thing, and just letting the ball go and just having some fun doing it.
Hey, whatever works. I mean, Russell has a little bit of that arc on his deep ball too, and I mean, if it works for him, it works for him. That throw he made to Ted Ginn was absolutely gorgeous on that fourth down, and I mean, hell, yeah. And if that's how he tosses him, good for him, because he'll take it all day long.
Absolutely. And Matt Nagy was also asked about that deep ball and the way he throws it. And these were his thoughts today in the Friday press.
Like about his willingness and his ability to go deep.
Yeah, well, Nick's always had that aggressive mentality. That's never changed. That we like. And then, a lot of guys, when you have that accuracy on those deep balls, that always is a positive for the offense and for those wide receivers and tight ends. And I think Nick has shown the ability over the course of time that he does have that. He does throw a downfield throw with more air on it than some, but there's a feel to it. And some he doesn't. Some he might take a little less off. And so it's just kind of a feel thing. I think I tend to think a lot of times with these whether it's a touch ball or accuracy or in the red zone, et cetera. We used to always joke around, can you play basketball or not? If you can shoot a basketball and play hoops, you can only have touch on those fade balls. But I know that Nick has hooped in his time, and we've had a lot of quarterbacks that we've coached that have done that, and they've been good with those kind of throws.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see that. We've got a lot of options. You've seen a Darnell Mooney flash here. Anthony Miller's had some game-winning touchdowns. Allen Robinson, comes out of his shell last week, makes some huge plays on the comeback win. Jimmy Graham in the red zone. We haven't seen Cole Kmet yet. Cordero Patterson's flashing around, making a few plays. Now you have the addition of Lamar Miller. There's a lot of things going on here. And if Nick Foles can just get them down the field, you heard Matt Nagy say the most frustrating part of that first drive when they missed the field goal was that they didn't get 7, that he wants points. I love that mentality. So they're pushing for better. That's what I said in my little send-off cry to Mitchie was, expectations have been raised. And Mitch didn't meet those, and that's disappointing for me as a fan, and I'm sure for Mitch as a quarterback. But for Bears fans, we should be excited. If Mitch and what he did here the last few years isn't good enough, well, those few years were not that bad, in my opinion, as a Bears fan. We've had much worse. I know the bar is not set high as Bears fans, but now we want better. Great. Let's roll. Let's see if Nick Foles can do that. I want to see if he can bring better. It was, I think, a perfect match. Everybody wanted Cam Newton. He did get a cheap deal, so I'm not going to argue the value there. But I like this fit with Nick Foles. Thank God they didn't give 5 years to Teddy Bridgewater. Let's see what this can do with Nick Foles. Let's find out what a coach Matt Nagy is. So
I mean, and to add on to that, thinking about why they pulled Mitch or when they pulled Mitch, at the time that Mitch was pulled in that game, it was about four and a half quarters of pretty bad football back to back. So there was some things there. The other side of that coin is the Bears are, even after that big showing last week with Foles in, the Bears are still third in the North for points scored. They have 74 points total scored, and in the entire NFC North, the Vikings have scored more points than them, and they're 0-3. The Packers have 122 points scored, which is insane. But, I don't blame him for being like, I need to get more out of my quarterback play because this ain't going to cut it. It's just not going to work. I mean, what happened in the second half, against the Giants was ridiculous. Detroit game came out super slow. whatever, first game, came back, won the game, good for them, got lucky on a drop.
Right.
But I don't blame him for needing points. And if Pace has a problem with that, he needs to look in the mirror, because you need to accept that Mitch wasn't the guy you thought he was and move on. And that actually is better than making the mistake of giving him any sort of additional money.
It's about system over player. It's about system over player, because, as much as I love the players, if the system holds strong, look at the Steelers. How many coaches have they had in the last 40 years? Like 3. The Bears have had not as many as some other coaches, but we've certainly had our fair share. So it's about consistency and building a system and letting those players fit that system. You don't fit the system to the player. Typically, ideally, you want the players to fit your system and then build that foundation and bring in players that way. So here's a few questions before we bring on our guy David Kaplan in just a few moments from ESPN 1000 and NBC Sports Chicago. Matt Nagy was asked a few more questions about Nick Foles and what we're going to see, and the fact that there really hasn't been any tape on Nick Foles yet.
I'm wondering, does it make any difference if the Falcons didn't have any tape on him with the Bears and the Colts do? Does that, preparation-wise for them, does that make it any more difficult for Nick coming in?
I don't think so, Mark. I think that all these coaches for the Colts and for other teams, they'll know what they want to look at and just kind of get an idea with where they're at and that sort of thing. So I don't really think it's too big of a deal, to tell you the truth.
Thank you.
Not a big deal. But
I think
is a big deal, Jake, is my chair is going to break today. It's going to break.
Your chair's going to break?
I'm warning you, because I'm on this like wooden floor that's kind of slippery, and then I got the carpet. So my front feet are on the carpet, and then the other feet are on the wood, so it's kind of like separating on the bottom. I'm a big guy. And so it's like it's gonna break at some point tonight. So
I hope it breaks mid-sentence while you're talking and you just collapse, because that'll be great for the show.
That's what I keep fidgeting with every time we do a video. So I just thought I'd let you know, because it is coming. So a few more. We got one more thing. Nick Foles had the offense. He was asked about, or Matt Nagy was asked about Nick Foles giving the offense a fresh look, and these were some of the thoughts Matt Nagy had.
Rare to be 3-0 and obviously have the quarterback switch like you guys had. But what's it like to have a new curiosity in terms of what the offense is going to look like, and with Nick having this full week going into this game on Sunday?
Well, I think that's for us. We're in a position where it is a big position, and it's a switch where you have one guy that took a lot of reps in training camp, and now here he is. He hasn't taken any snaps other than last week, and so you have a full week to prepare, and things are what they are offensively for us. But we don't really, we just kind of go about the weekly schedule. We go about what we're doing. We stick within this offense, and there's some things that we might do a little different here or there, and some things that we do the same, but really, until we get through the game and get a good feel for how things went, it's kind of hard to know exactly how much excitement we could have. I just think right now we're so focused on the Colts that we're just trying to just play our game and focus on us.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, the ace in the hole for the Colts is how well Frank Reich knows Foles, because they're thick as thieves. So I'm sure he has tendencies of knowing what Nick likes to do and can anticipate what they might see on the field. So we'll see. It'll be a really good matchup. And I'm excited to see what Foles does with the full week first team reps.
Absolutely. So I just sent the link along to David Kaplan, my guy. He just texted me. He's gearing up, ready to go. So he should be in the studio at any moment. And we are excited to have him join us. And there he is.
There he is.
Wants to go ahead and bring in our guy, David Kaplan, the man, the myth, the legend, the man of the people.
What's up?
David Kaplan.
Hey, Dave.
How are you, sir?
Are you
recovering from a Cubs loss?
Yeah, I just got done doing the Cubs Talk podcast that we do after, we do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then after all the playoff games. So there were only 2. We're done.
Well, they
Total
were
bummer.
joking with you on ESPN 1000 on Cap and Hood 7 to 10 in the morning on ESPN 1000. One of my favorite shows. You guys, Zetterman was joking with you that you kind of were hoping for this. I'm sure you weren't, because I know you're a diehard baseball fan.
Yeah, I was not hoping for this because I love my Cubs. I love baseball. I'm a huge fan. And yes, they were joking because once I get done doing Cubs and once the Cubs and Sox are both out, then I am free from baseball night in Chicago 5 nights a week. And so they were, giving me a hard time about it. Look, I would much prefer both teams in the World Series. So it is what it is.
Well, yeah, that prediction of mine fell flat, as have a few predictions this year so far. And so the Cubs and White Sox will not be making it to World Series. But, man, I got to tell you, Cap, before we get into the Bears talk, I had a lot of fun with you on Tuesday. My legs are still recovering from this walk that me, you, and Darren and Sam did. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you letting me kind of join in on this crazy journey. I'm sharing some of the pictures along. There's Porter Moser. We're out at the Northwestern and everything else. Cap, how did you kind of come to bring this together with Darren? Because, we were joking around about a unity walk, but then we were kind of saying, hey, let's try to find a good cause. And you kind of hit a home run with this one with Darren and Bernie's Book Bank. You want to tell our listeners a little bit about it?
Yeah, so here's how it started. Last year, Pat Manley, who has played more games in a Bears uniform than anyone in the history of the franchise, that's accurate, called me and said, hey, man, and we're really, really good friends. Hey, man, would you be willing to MC the gala for Bernie's Book Bank? And they're going to present the Long Snapper of the Year award. So there was a kid from Notre Dame won it, and there were 2 other, I want to say Iowa State and Ohio State. So there were some, really good players. And then the panel that I emceed in front of everyone was Patrick Manley, Peanut Tillman, and Olin Kreutz. And my wife and I spent some time with the Bernie's Book Bank people. I met Darren. I thought, this place is amazing. They provide excuse me, books and learning materials for underprivileged boys and girls. And they have distributed over 18 million books in the 10 years they've been around. Over 895,000 since the pandemic hit last spring. But fundraising is tough during a pandemic. So many people lose their jobs. So we got into this thing that I cheer for the Cubs, but I'm also cheering for the White Sox. Cub fan first and foremost. Hope we beat the White Sox every time we play them. But if we're not playing them, why can't I root for both teams? It says Chicago across the front of the jersey. And I said, we're in a bad spot in our country. If you like the president and he doesn't, it means you hate each other. Why? That's not how I grew up. That we're all unified and we can all have our opinions. And so I can't root for the White Sox because, heaven forbid, I'm a Cubs fan. That's bull. So I said, you know what? I'm going to walk home 29 miles from downtown, and I'm going to wear a half Cubs, half Sox jersey, and I'm going to do it to promote unity, and I'm going to raise money for a charity that helps kids.
I love it.
A Chicago charity. Because, look, the V Foundation's amazing. They get hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
My mom has Alzheimer's. They get a ton of money. Cancer research and whatever it is, diabetes. But how about a local charity that impacts children? And so I'm sitting in our meeting. I'm like, wait a second. Bernie's Book Bank's an amazing place. Called Pat Manley. He got me in touch with Darren. And I said, Darren, what do you think of this? He's like, oh, my God, you have no idea the impact that could have because fundraising's been really tough. And so it came about. It's going to be the 29th. My man, Greg Braggs, reaches out and says, I want to do it with you. And I said, done. And I had other people ask. He's the only one I let. I asked Sam Frasco, one of the heads of security at the ABC building.
Sam. Sam was great.
Sam said, I'm in. I'm going to do it because you never know what lunatics you run into, and Sam's an animal.
You invited a lunatic.
And Darren, who is...
Get some water, Sparkles. You all right, my man?
I've got hay fever.
Oh, man.
No.
It kills me.
No, you're good, man, and we appreciate you. And here's the picture of all.
Yeah, there's a picture. So there's Patrick Manley. There's Sam is in there. There's Darren wearing Pat's jersey, even though he's a Packer fan. Jonathan Hood, me. There's Braggs, and I don't know who we're missing in the middle there.
Somebody's snuck in there.
Yeah.
Is that Mike?
Anyway, to make a long story short, we raised over 80 grand. It was an amazing thing. And Braggs, I didn't know if you'd make it, man, but all of us, we finished.
He said the last 10 miles were pretty tough. I was keeping up with him on text.
The first couple miles, I'm like, this is easy. This is nothing. I walk all the time. Then we got to mile 20. I was like, I'm not going to work tomorrow.
Yeah, the last 5 miles for me, because I tore my ACL back in 2014. My knee started to bark. So I put CBD on it and just said 1 foot in front of another and just gut it out, because if I didn't make it, oh my God, they'd have destroyed me on the air. So
You guys are killing me. That was my motivation, was to finish, because I didn't want to get destroyed for not finishing. But it was like, man. And then you guys were scaring me at the end because you were pushing through so well. And I was like, there's 2 things I learned in this trip. One, man, there's some people that got some real money in Chicago, because you're walking through Evanston seeing some beautiful houses. And then 2, I need to get in better shape for this thing next year. I'll do a little training, and but I can't thank you enough for letting me, kind of come along for the ride. It was a lot of fun, and just seeing kind of how you do your thing. And Darren was great, and Sam was a great guy to hang out with, just talk sports. And I would walk 1,000,000 miles with you, Capper, for as much as you do for me and all the support you've always shown me. Can't thank you enough. So I will always thank you in that way. So let's move on to our 3-0 Chicago Bears. That's all we got left now that the Cubs and Sox go quietly into that good night. And LeBron's going to ruin my life with another championship. So Jake had a few questions. My co-host and great friend, Jake O'Van.
Good to meet you, sir.
Good to see you.
Few questions for you for our Chicago Bears this coming
Now,
season.
I know you and Greg were the Mitch Truthers. That was your big thing. So I want to touch on that and say, how did you take the benching that happened in the third quarter last game, and what did you think about
with it? I agreed with it. When he missed Anthony Miller at the end of the first half, I said to the guys I do the Bears post-game show, the football after show, Kreutz and Alex Brown and Lance Briggs, you can't miss that throw. He read the defense, he audibled to that play, and he missed a wide-open Anthony Miller. I said, that is the biggest play of the game. He missed it. And then when he threw the stupid interception, that was it. But I think the Anthony Miller throw, that's what got him back.
That's fair. I had tweeted something right after he threw that pick, and I said maybe I'd give him a series, and then I'm pulling him for Foles if he doesn't do something with it. And he actually took him right after that. So I give him props for that, because he read that right and made the right call at the right time. So,
well, I think Matt looked at it and went, hold on a second. We only get 16 final exams. We can win this one. We've studied. We can beat Atlanta. I cannot go any longer with this guy. Yeah, I can't give this game away. And so he went to Foles, and it turned out to be a master stroke. And now it's Nick Foles' team. And as I've always said, if you get to know Mitchell Trubisky, he's an amazing guy. He's the first guy in the building. He's the last guy out. But at some point, you also have to perform well enough to keep your job. He didn't. And first and foremost, I'm not a Mitch Trubisky guy. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So I want them to win. And if it's Nick Foles, Tyler Bray, if it's you, I'm going to cheer my ass off for whoever is at quarterback for us.
That's the right answer. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what we're excited to see. So moving on to the defensive side of the ball, what are you thinking now? Because in the first few weeks, we've seen some shakiness. We've seen them come up in the moments when you need them, because they're 3-0, and they
Red
have
defense
for the most part.
Suspect.
But now that Nick Foles is in the fold, you saw maybe a lift of spirits, so to speak, at the end of that game. Do you anticipate the defense becoming much more recognizable now that you have an offense that could potentially put up more points consistently?
Long as they have lane integrity. Their run defense has been garbage. And you got Jonathan Taylor's a good football player. You got a really good offensive line anchored by Quentin Nelson, who the Bears really wanted to draft when they ended up getting Roquan, because Nelson was off the board. If you can control their run game, you can control the Colts. That's the key to the football game.
Absolutely, and that's going to be the big test. Like I said, like we were saying, the Bears' run defense they're missing Eddie Goldman terribly right now, and Nichols really needs to step up. I know they've been kind of teasing Snacks Harrison possibly coming in. I don't know how much gas he's got left in the tank, regardless. So they need to piece it together with what they got. So that's a major test because that O-line is nasty. So we'll see how they do. But that's going to be the big one for them. If they can show out against that O-line, I think they got an excellent chance.
Yeah, if they get to 4-0, man, that is just an amazing accomplishment. And then imagine next Thursday night, it's Tom Brady, it's the Tampa Bay Bucks rolling into Chicago. Now, again, it's not going to be fans at Soldier Field. It's not going to be the atmosphere. But if you're on national TV and you're 4-0 with a chance to get to 5-0, oh my goodness. So let's take care of business. Everybody knows my rule. You wake up Sunday morning, you get some coffee, and you find a way to win a football game.
Damn right.
Find a way to win a football game.
I think the Bears might get lucky too, because I think Godwin might miss that game as well. The Bears have had a little fortune go their way and missing a couple starters here and there. So I think Godwin might not make that game, potentially, is what I hear. So that would only be a good thing.
Yeah, I was listening to Troy Aikman the other night, and he said they got off. No, actually, it was Dave Wanstead. Dave said we got off to a 2-0 start in Dallas, and we shouldn't have won either game. But we did. He said, and all of a sudden we're playing at Denver week 3, and we get a call. John Elway's banged up. He's not going to play. We found a way to beat Denver. We got to 3-0, and we ended up going to the Super Bowl. He said we weren't that good early in the season. But he said it's not who you play, it's when you play them. He goes, and you don't apologize that Godwin's out or John Elway was out. He goes, you play who's on your schedule. And if it says the Detroit Lions or the Atlanta Falcons or the New York Giants, they're still NFL teams and they're still cashing a check.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do we have to hear how fraudulent the Bears are, nationally? I think they were dubbing them the worst 0-2 team last week. Probably still 2-0 team. They're probably doing the exact same now, 3-0 at least.
Although Rob Ninkovich came out today, who used to play for the New England Patriots. Ninkovich said today they will win the NFC North.
I like to hear that. Yeah, I know Foles has injected some confidence.
And how many times have we seen this as Chicago Bears fans in the last 25 years? This happens once every 4 to 5 years where the schedule lays out perfectly for them. They get all the breaks of players missing a game, dinged up for whatever reason, and they get continued to be doubted throughout the process, and then they ultimately make the playoffs. But as we know, they've, in my lifetime so far, my 34 years of watching the Bears have fallen short, except when I was 2 months old when they won it on a cold night in January.
By the way, you're 34, Greg?
Yes, sir.
How did it feel to be way behind me as we were finishing? And I'm going to be 60 in November.
It was a very humbling experience.
He was talking about your strides. You said you had really long strides and you couldn't keep up.
I felt like,
and I'm this little dude. He's bigger than me.
Dude, you're the fastest man alive. I'm glad I lost the 45 pounds I did this summer before I agreed to go on that walk with you. I would definitely not have made it. So I am going to train next year because, Jenny, when I got home, it took me an hour to get home from where we ended. And when I got home, I could not walk into the house. It was like a concern to get into the house. By the next day, it started to loosen up, and I went to work the day after. I did have to take a day off, and I commend you, good sir, for showing up to ESPN 1000 Studios on State Street that next day. So, Cap, before what are your thoughts here now going forward? Not just for this game Sunday, but with Foles. I mean, do you see them making the playoffs at this point, or do you still need to see a little more?
Look, I picked them to go to the playoffs before the season, so I'm not going to change now when they've, arguably upgraded their offense with a professional quarterback who understands the way the offense is supposed to run. He may not be as gifted physically as Mitch. He may not have as big an arm as Mitch. He certainly isn't going to make plays with his feet like Mitch, but he's tough. He's a great leader. He's a really good person. He knows that offense. And when he has to make big throws in big spots, he's proven it in the Super Bowl, and he proved it last week, and he's proved it a number of times. So, yeah, I think it's a playoff team.
So what do you think about this? So this was at the finish line, the moment of the night to finish our journey walking through Chicago. Mason making his Brags in the Stands debut.
Take that,
Finally
29.
we made it. We made it. Well, and I got a few more. I found this in the old vault. What do you think of this picture
Okay, so
of
that
you?
picture, I can tell you what that's from. That's at Northern Illinois University. That's a fat David Kaplan and a much younger Tom Waddle, and we are doing a game on that is nationally televised.
Wow.
Is Maryland number 16 in the country in one poll, 13 in the other, coming into DeKalb to play Northern Illinois. It went to overtime, and Northern upset them. It was an amazing game.
How awesome is that?
How did they end up picking the both of you two to do that game? Did that
Because we did Northern Illinois football for Fox Sports Net, which is now NBC Sports Chicago.
Okay.
They decided with Maryland coming in, let's make that the national game of the week. Let's just use the crew that's already there. We got to do it.
Garrett Wolf was the running back for Northern Illinois at the time, or no?
Either him or Michael Turner.
Okay.
Michael
I got one
Burner
more for
Turner.
you. Do you
Ran for San Diego.
remember this? Do you remember this? Yeah, old
Yeah, that's an even fatter David Kaplan. Yeah.
It says WGN certified awesome sports guy at the bottom.
Yeah,
that's
that's
you are. Is that
That's
how
a
you
great
would
title.
describe? Is that how
I
you
didn't put that
describe
there.
yourself?
It was I had to get a recipe for a cookbook.
Spike
And
O'Dell, yes.
I was
My
married.
mom-
I would think I was married to my first wife, and she couldn't cook to save her life. And my second wife's an amazing cook, so I got that recipe from my mom.
You know, I have to apologize to Mindy. All the hoopla going on at the end of the finish line. I didn't get a chance to really say hi and introduce myself properly, so you'll have to tell her I apologize for that. But you're right. It was a Spike O'Dell cookbook, and my mom owns it. So we actually put it together one year for a Super Bowl party. Here, I'll share this with you before we let you jet.
Hello, Super Bowl fans. Today we're looking at Spike O'Dell from WGN, his famous cookbook from 1997. And the favorite recipe, Dave Kaplan's cocktail wieners.
So how are we putting this together, Chef Barb?
Okay, so you need some regular prepared yellow mustard. So we're going to put some into the pan.
Okay.
And then we're going to add spicy brown mustard.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
And the third thing, the secret ingredient, is grape jelly.
The secret sauce.
The secret sauce is grape.
So that's a little preview for it.
And those things are really delicious. Let me tell
They
you.
were. We tried it
They
out.
were
It was for a
amazing. You
football
put them in a
party.
crock pot. You let them cook. Oh, they're amazing.
That was
My mom
grape
pulled
jelly,
it.
right? Was that what it was?
Grape
Yes.
jelly.
Grape jelly.
I think you made that. You might have made that? Was that for the Notre Dame national championship game?
I can't remember. It was one of those football.
I think
games
I remember
back when
eating that.
back when our lives were normal. But Cap, again, we spent a whole day talking together. So I told you I'd let you jet, and I appreciate you coming on with us tonight and talking a little
Absolutely.
Bears.
Thank you, sir.
And letting us goof with you. You're my guy, Cap. Always 10
Same here.
toes down for you. And,
You're my guy, and it's a great pleasure to be on your show anytime.
Appreciate you so much.
Brags in the Stands debut. Hey, how about this? We've never done this before. Put him on the solo camera, Jake, and ask him. Let's see if we can do a promo. Pull up his thing, Jake. Okay, Kaplan, fire away. Give me a little shout here. You're listening to Brett. You're watching, because we're not listening anymore. We're video now, baby. You can say whatever you're not. You're watching Brags in the Stands. I love you, baby.
Hey, this is David Kaplan from ESPN 1000, the Cap and J Hood Morning Show, and NBC Sports Chicago. Do what I do. Watch Brags in the Stands with Greg, Brags, and Jake. Must-watch television. Take that.
Woo! That was perfect.
We love you, baby. Dude,
Yeah,
one
we're gonna
take.
get that. We're gonna cut that one up. He's a pro.
We went to this school, and he got the principal and the assistant principal and the school's name. He could probably still ring them off. I ain't gonna put him on the spot right now, but he could probably ring them off right now. He is that
Yeah,
good.
it actually was. I believe it was Raquel Vasquez, and the assistant principal was Stephanie Newmark.
Oh my gosh!
Take
I
that.
have a lot.
Elementary.
That is a walk-off.
That's a memory.
That's a walk-off, Kaplan. We look forward to bringing you on again. It'll be when we're heading to the Super Bowl, baby. Sometime in the postseason, we'll catch up with you again. I appreciate your time.
Prediction? Do you have a Bears-Colts prediction?
Yeah, give us a prediction.
Bears win the game 24-20.
Let's do it, baby. I'll talk to you soon on the Twitter sphere. Take that as always. You're my guy.
Thank you, sir. Great meeting you.
You guys are awesome. Be good.
Yes, sir.
What a guy.
Wow. I got a lot to learn from that guy, and I learned a lot on a long journey of 29 miles walking with my guy David Kaplan for the Bernie's Book Bank charity. And we're doing our giveaway announcements here in just a little bit at the end of the show. We're going to be giving away, of course, the signed Anthony Miller helmet and signed Tariq Cohen jersey. So look forward to that. It was a lot of fun with David Kaplan. I learned a lot. This was just a journey that I didn't know exactly what I signed up for, but by the end of it, I was very grateful that I did it because, as I said, I got to experience a lot of cool things, but also kind of, just learn a lot from the guy that kind of does this, every day. And I kind of obviously like to do this stuff in the sports sphere and give back to people as best I can. And when Cap asked to do this foundation, I was all in, that. I think anybody that knows with my guy Dave Mays and the Versus Cancer Foundation, I always want to try to help as best I can if I can. I can't help all causes, but if someone reaches out to me and I can do it, I'll do my best to do it. I can't always do it all, but we do what we can here at Brags in the Stands.
We do what we can.
Appreciate, yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna pull up our little ad thing because I've been getting so good at it lately. If you don't mind, Jake, we can pull up
a little tunage.
The music tunage, and we can pull up my little line for my guy Brian Potter.
Here we go. You ready?
This. I am ready to go. Do we got the little picture? There it is. Fan bags all day long. Make sure you get yours. And that David Kaplan of ESPN 1000 and NBC Sports Chicago interview was brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole.
You're getting very good at that.
I did all right. I kind of messed up that.
You're consistent.
One part where I was like, any of their officially licensed designs, or have my boy Brian design a custom. I gotta really hit that. I gotta work on that.
Do you have to though? Really?
My boy Brian Potter. I do. I want to hit it. I want to nail it for my guy Brian because his boards and his bags are as good as can be. And my nickname, my name moniker is Big Bags Brags. Jake will tell you I am as cold-blooded clutch
I don't
as
remember
Michael
that.
Jeffrey Jordan on a beanbag board set. If you don't, I'm reminding you. That's all. So
someone calls you Big Bags Brags?
Everyone
or do you call yourself that?
Well, I call myself Big Bags Brags, and I call myself a lot of things, but yeah, Big Bags Brags is one of those things. So, that's where we're at. Make sure you go and hit up Brian and get some good fan bags. That is quality
some
work.
Fan bags. Go get some.
On the
Why not?
professional circuit, absolutely. So we are moving on and rolling along. We appreciate David Kaplan's time. And again, we're going to be announcing the winners of the Bernie's Book Bank giveaway here later on the show. But
we will do that.
Have moved on to our favorite weekly segment with our boy Johnny B.
Let's get some music. Open them up.
Let's get some music.
We just had some rock.
Man, that's so calming. That's what you need.
I know, right?
The sport's better. Sometimes you need that calming music.
Yeah, you gotta have,
especially
you know, you can't have all hard rock. You gotta kind of layer it in. You gotta be thoughtful like that.
Yeah, I like
The music does mellow me. I need to be mellow because I'm always so charged up.
Oh my
Well,
God!
why don't we just?
You guys are going to the Super Bowl. I just bought my airplane tickets for Tampa a couple days ago. So you guys should
There's
go
Chiefs.
Let's go.
It's gonna be a great game.
Time Mahomes. Let's do it.
That's right. That's right. You're lucky we didn't get Denard Robinson in the offseason like I wanted them to, because now we're really building that secondary Kansas City Chiefs team with Foles and Nagy. We're bringing them all in.
There you go. There you go.
What we can get. Hey, we're just trying to replicate you. That's all we can
City
do.
North. That's what we call it. Kansas City North.
Hey, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
I was literally going to say that. We're in the same wavelength, you and I.
So what do you say, Johnny B? How we feeling today? Welcome
Oh,
back to Brags in the Stands, as per usual.
Yeah, we're feeling good. We're feeling good. The picks went super well last week. You know, we're just getting into week 4 here, where I feel like most people, you know, start to feel their stride about what's kind of happening, letting some injuries sort out, especially with no preseason. So it was a super good week. We went 2-1 on the picks, and we're also 4-0 on the listener picks when they DM me on game day. So sometimes as we get closer, to the game, you know, things happen. People that are maybe going to play, not going to play. So we had the Dolphins, and then a couple people, listeners, DM me about the Chiefs game, and I predicted them the score was going to be 41-20 Kansas City Chiefs. And if it wasn't for Harrison Butker choking a couple kicks and some guy that is a third-string running back fumbling, we probably would have been right there. So I told a lot of people that score, I said, you want to make some serious money, bet the Chiefs minus 6.5 at a huge plus. And, I mean, it was lights out first half.
Oh, yeah. I got caught up. I got caught up in that Chargers game because I was thinking, look at I wasn't thinking about it being a division game. Those are always tough games.
Maybe the Chargers game was the trap game.
There you go.
That for division, but with AFC, you know, Lamar versus Mahomes, maybe that was our trap game.
That's fair enough. So yeah, I was very surprised that the Chiefs D came to play the way it did and shut them down. So that was quite encouraging. I'm sure that made you a very happy man, because you know your offense is going to put up points, no problem whatsoever. Best quarterback in the world. So you had to feel pretty good on that D effort.
And let me ask you this too, Johnny, because you're heading into a big game this Sunday, and you are not just our gambling aficionado, but our diehard resident Chiefs fan, always keeping us humble with your Super Bowl trophy under your wing. And this week, this will be the 9th time in the last 20 years that the Patriots have been home underdogs, the last time being 2016.
Well, games at Arrowhead. I got to stop you right there. Games at Arrowhead.
Wait a minute. The game's at Arrowhead?
Yes, sir, with fans.
All right.
Greg.
Well, I'm sorry. No, I don't mean home underdogs. See, me and Jake were talking about this earlier, and
I said the Patriots were underdogs to Seattle 2 weeks ago.
All right. Well, Carmen DeFalco, so I will throw him under the bus while I read this stat. He
Damn it,
said
Carmen.
it on the air. So maybe they forgot to add the game from 2 weeks ago because it wasn't registered into this stat yet. But he said the 9th time in the last 20 years that the Patriots have been underdogs. The last time being 2016. The Patriots are 6-2 in those games. The Patriots are underdogs to the Chiefs this week. What do you say, Johnny B?
Well, we were underdogs to the Ravens just a couple days ago with a team that a lot of people thought were going to go undefeated. A lot of the experts out there on all these national media sites and shows are saying, oh, Ravens could go 16-0, Ravens could go 15-1, and we went in there and just punched them in the mouth on both sides of the ball. We beat the Patriots last year in New England. Obviously, we're offsides away from beating them in the AFC Championship a couple of years ago, and they got to beat us now. That's the way it is. They had their reign. You got to come in there. You're your underdogs. You got to come into Arrowhead. You got to beat Mahomes, and good luck to you. And our defense is playing really sick too. So you can bet the Pats. Yeah, you can bet the Pats if you want. I mean, a lot of people bet the Ravens too. I know Vegas. You know, I know a lot of people were taking the Ravens in Vegas.
No way in hell I'm betting
Mahomes with plus points. I just don't get it. Mahomes and Rodgers last week had plus points. Let that sink in, Vegas.
See,
Let
you're
that
not like
sink in.
me. You're not like me. You're a smart gambler. You don't bet with your heart. You bet with your head. But you are in our fantasy league. And the first year you were in our league, you drafted all Chiefs players. Now, the Chiefs were coming, so it was maybe justified for a good handful of those players. But you do have some Chiefs bias, if you will, inside of you, obviously, if you see,
Sure.
everything behind you. So, Johnny, are you
Fantasy
gonna
league
have
small
trouble?
potatoes though compared to
This
what
is
Johnny's
way
rolling
down the
out.
road, but are you gonna have trouble one day, seeing when it's all going away? Are you one of those guys that will know ahead of time when it's time to kind of let it go? We all saw that I took forever to let this whole Mitch thing drag out. So obviously
This
I
is
don't
no
know
comparison.
well, I'm just saying I don't know how to let things go is my
This is like apples and oranges, and I don't like oranges or whatever. I don't like apples. But yeah, I mean, as
These
long
are very
as
different.
is on 2 feet and his rotator cuff is good, I think that I'll have confidence to put him in a fantasy lineup. Fantasy is a lot different than betting.
Oh yeah.
Against the Chargers on the road, a division game, I really wasn't doing too much on the Chiefs. I was teasing them to -2.5 or -3. They ended up, winning by 3. So I didn't, I did win some money with some teases on the Chiefs that game because I wasn't feeling that game on the road at -7 that early in the season.
So
but this week with the Ravens is a different story. So
you still will bet against them, even though they're in their midst of their dominance right now. You're still
I
not
won't
afraid
bet. I won't bet against them right now. That's not how I roll. If I'm not feeling like very confident in the bet or the matchup, I just won't bet it.
Okay.
I'll stay away from the game. There's a lot of games I stay away from for various reasons. Maybe a player's not sure if he's going to play, or maybe if he does play, maybe he's not going to make it out of the game. Certain matchups, things like that. You look at a lot of things when you put the real money on the line. Fantasy's a little bit different, I mean, yeah, you have your bragging rights with your buddies, but money's money. Money's money.
I am your
Don't
champion.
mess with a man's money.
I am your champion. Right. I am your king of our last second league. Thank you very much.
Well, guys, you didn't see my epic comeback in fantasy against Eric when Mahomes all lit it up and he was up by like 35 points and I won. And with one.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
I'm sure he didn't really say anything to me, so he was probably hurting.
Jake and I have our eyes set on Jake and I have our eyes set on each other because we play each other this week. So we'll see how that goes. But Johnny, this is your segment. This is Johnny B for 3. And the people are here for you, Johnny. You see Alex Acevedo is in the chat from the Tape Never Lies Network, and he is a big fan of yours, as well as many across this great nation of ours, and they want to hear your thoughts and your picks for this week.
All right, let's go up there. All right, Johnny B signed for 3. We're at it. Last week we went 2-1, which is looking at just over 66% if you average it out. That's kind of like what you're looking to do. So now that we're in the week 4, let's roll. Last week 2-1, easy wins with the Packers with plus points, and I also myself took the Packers at minus and put those odds up, and then the Steelers -3. The only loss that we had was the Mighty Mouse from Arizona. I'm not really sure what he was doing in that game. Maybe he couldn't see the guys he was throwing to, but 3 interceptions, and that was our only loss. So let's get into this week's picks. Right now, we're 5-4 on the official picks right now, but we're 4-0 on those game day picks with the listeners DMing me and contacting me. So including a big Chiefs -6.5 on Monday Night Football. So pick number 1. Is it a surprise? Mr. Unlimited. I'm not even sure why the heck he would ever do a video like that. Russell Wilson -6. We're going to take them. They're lighting it up. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett is under the radar, -6, and you're going to make $100 at -118 if you bet 118. So I like that. That's my number 1 pick of the week. Go into number 2. Hey, here it is. I've been kind of teasing everybody about it. It might happen. I'm a big Nick Foles fan. He was on the Chiefs as a backup a few years ago in the system. A lot of people don't know that. And now we can push the ball down the field, Chicago. That's going to let us get some leads. That's going to let those pass rushers actually rush, not have to worry about the run as much. We're going to get Hicks going and stopping the run. And I'm going to take those Bears against the Colts at +3. I still think they win the game outright. So if you want to take the Bears money line, you can. But sometimes it's good to have a little insurance. So I'm going to take myself the Bears +3 against the Colts for my number 2 pick of the week. Number 3, I'm calling this the AFC kind of contenders tease. Ravens are all mad. Chiefs are rolling, and they're at home. So I'm going to tease the Ravens down to -9. I'm going to tease the Chiefs down to -2.5. We're going to put them together, and almost even money there. So $108 at -108. We'll pay you a $100 bill, and that's my third pick of the week.
Love it. Love that Bears pick. I feel good about that. I'm surprised that the Bears are +3 in that one. They're at home. They got a good team. Nick Foles lit it up last week. I'm surprised that they're
that spread's been bouncing around a little bit. So it was at 2, it was at 2.5. So I just bumped it myself. So I bought that extra half point. The odds pushed them up a little bit, but if the game goes to overtime or something weird happens, you're good either way. If it goes to overtime and a field goal wins or loses the game. So if you're down 3, if you lose by 3, you push on the bet, and obviously if you win the game, and then you cash. So I just bought that extra half point just to get a little insurance policy. Sometimes in betting, it's good to have a little insurance policy there.
And but just so everyone knows,
it opens up the game quite a bit. I really feel like there's a good chance that the Bears could win this by 10 points or more. We'll see as the game gets closer how I'm feeling. I'm going to take the insurance for right now, but right now they have something to prove. And
what does the weather play into that factor at all? There's a chance that it could be rain and cold. Does that change your thought process at all with that being, in the mindset?
Not really. The Bears got obviously a good, good running back in Montgomery and a good little screen game. We've seen a little bit of that already. He had the touchdown, I believe, against the Giants. We had that nice little move and got that screen. But I'm not too worried about the weather. If the Bears get ahead, they're going to be able to rush the passer because they're going to have to pass. Phillip Rivers, we played him a lot versus the Chiefs, obviously twice a year, and he has a tendency to definitely turn the ball over. I mean, we picked him off. I can't even tell you how many times over the last couple of years. So Phillip Rivers, San Diego, LA, then comes to an indoor stadium. I think you got to be hoping for rain, to be honest with you. We know Nick can play in the inclement weather in Kansas City and Philly. We know he can do it.
Every single time every single time I bet on weather, it's blown up in my face. So anytime I've tried to make a call based on snow or rain or wind or something, it's never really paid off either, in my experience, gambling wise.
A lot of people said that about Mahomes, when he first came in the league. Oh, he's coming to Kansas City, and it's kind of strange. The last 2 or 3 years, like they've had some really crazy weather down there, cold, snowy, almost as much as it is here, which in Chicago, which is unusual for Kansas City. I mean, they get it, but it's usually not as bad as here. And there's a famous line where he's in the snow and he's just slinging the ball around the field, and Tyreek's running free, and they're saying, look at a cheetah in the snow. And he says, I can sling this in anything. And that's what he says to the coaches on the sideline. And it doesn't matter. If they're feeling it, the technology and the equipment is good there. And if you have the confidence, that's all it's about. And I'll take that Bears pass rush in the snow all day long.
I read something today, I don't know if it's accurate, that said that the Bears had actually reached out to Mahomes prior to obviously the draft, but let them know that he was the first quarterback on their board. And of course, we all know what actually happened. But I read that today, and it was just like, come on. I didn't need to see that. Just don't even make it public anymore, even if it is true.
I did see that actually, and I was like, holy cow, thank heavens for me that it turned out the way it did. Now, I know my good friend Greg Braggs over there is not feeling the same way, but hey, you're 3-0 too. So are the Chiefs. I mean, you're the same, right?
Right, we're 3-0.
Ravens. It's close.
The future is not here yet. The current is here. The present is now. That's it.
Football game or how you win a championship. It's just a matter of if you do it or not. And we got our guy now. As you were almost fraudulent slipped and called him his old Philly nickname, but we've got a new nickname for him in this town, and that's Foles Royce. And there's the new gear available in our gift shop. The Braggs in the Stands gift shop. Our guy Jake put that together. So make
sure. I could have segued that really good if I would have known you were going to put it up there. I go beating that just because you're down. He comes in, he's chucking. He says, "Hey, Miller, they're going to be blitzing me like you guys were talking about. They're going to be in my face. I'm throwing the ball to the L. Turn your head around. The ball will be waiting for you." That's all you No. Mitch Trubisky never did that in his life. He never told anybody in his
We
life.
will not
Even on the schoolyard.
tolerate. We will not tolerate Mitch Sanders.
Get
We
to
will
the
not.
L and turn around.
We
They're
are
gonna push me.
celebrating Nick Foles. We are not slandering my guy. But I do have to agree with our guy Chubbs82. He did say Johnny B is the best part. You know, we do work hard here at Brags in the Stands, but I got to say, Johnny B, you have become such an integral part to what we do here at Brags in the Stands, and I do appreciate your hard work and efforts here always. So I wanted to give you the shout out that Chubbs82 is also giving you. You are
Well,
great.
I appreciate
And
it. I
You're the
appreciate
man.
bring it. You
Chubbs
bring it.
82, I appreciate all the positive feedback. As you know, we're just out here trying to get our sports back. Football is obviously by far the best ones. I do like that. What do we got here? Seahawks, Rams.
He's got a question.
14
for
money
you,
line.
Fire away if you'd
Are
like
those,
to throw him a
money
little
line?
teaser since he's throwing away. He's got a lock that he thought he'd throw in there. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an interesting play there. It's a good little play. I mean, those teams are obviously pretty, heavy favorites on the money line. You got to win all four of them. It's a little tricky, but I mean, those teams should all handle business at plus 31 there. I think you're good there. I think that'll be good.
What do you say at plus 131? What is your wager on that?
What do you wager whatever you want? If you're betting $100, you're going to win 131.
Okay, so that's how it works. So when you have minus something, then you have to bet that to win $100.
So minus
right?
116, you're betting 116 to win 100.
Okay. Gotcha.
When you're minus, you have to risk more to win less.
Right. Yeah, Greg and I were talking about that. I was trying to explain it. I think that's what I said when I was
Money line, for those of you who don't know, money line just means winning straight up. That's what money line means. So some people that maybe watch don't know what money line is. Money line means just straight up win. Heads up, we're playing whoever wins. Minus means you're giving the points. So if you're minus 3, you're already 3 points behind. If you're plus 3, you're 3 points ahead.
I want to add more like interactive video stuff to this
term,
show, so I gotta get the GIF of Michael Scott being like, "All right, why don't you explain
this to me like I'm 5?
Like I'm 5." So
well, there's one very important part
it.
that I need to say in this show today, and I've been saying it since day one. We would be near perfect on our picks for my picks on this show if it wasn't for a couple of things. And one of those things was Carson Wentz, which I talked about after the first week.
Evil.
Say it with me. Carson Wentz is not an elite NFL quarterback, and I guess his coach thinks so too, because Jalen Hurts is going to get his first start this week. I had seen it, and Jake, you had mentioned it to me off air a couple days ago, and we were talking to each other. But yeah, so I'm actually excited to see Jalen Hurts play. He's very dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I'm going to definitely tune into that. I don't know if I'm going to do any action on that game. Probably not. But they're still a little banged up. But, yeah, it's just kind of funny how that quickly happened, and other people that supposedly
it was time.
know what they're doing, not like me, are making
some
that
of these
decision.
You're starting to see some of these young quarterbacks around the league running out of rope. Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and now you see Carson Wentz get the bench, Mitch Trubisky. So, you only get so long. They call the NFL not for long, and maybe these guys got a little longer leash than others do. And, at some point, push comes to shove, you gotta make your move. So it will be interesting to see what Jalen Hurts does. And I even thought about picking him up, but I thought I was getting a little ahead of myself in fantasy. But you never know, because I wouldn't be surprised to see them trying to just blitzkrieg like Lamar Jackson type of offense, and he could rack up the yards. But see, I gave that away. Now you two are gonna. Jake the Snake will be running to the waiver wire.
I will not be getting Jalen Hurts off the
I
waiver.
have Mahomes, just in case you didn't hear earlier. So I will not be going. Your secret is safe with us, Greg. I have Mahomes.
I have 2 good quarterbacks. I'm not worried about Jalen Hurts.
I just have one quarterback. I don't even have 2. I have one quarterback on my
What's
team.
the point?
The bye is not till the 10th week or something.
There you go.
Chubbs has Jalen having a rough day at the office, so I guess Chubbs is no fan of Jalen Hurts. I guess we'll find out.
I do like the Rams. One of the people, they on the chat, they chimed in. I do like the Rams. I'm going to do some action on the Rams this week. I'm going to kind of wait till it gets closer. I'm probably going to put maybe the Rams and Seahawks together on some kind of tease. But I do really like the Rams this week. Last week they were way behind in Buffalo, having to go basically as far as you can go from West Coast to East Coast, and then behind. And obviously everything was clicking with Diggs and Allen. and they made a huge comeback. And maybe there's a controversial call at the end of that game. Maybe they should have won. I really like the way that the McVay has been handling the guys. A lot of people probably saw him on Hard Knocks and everything like that, and I thought he was just real locked into what he's doing, trying to get back and prove that the Super Bowl wasn't a fluke. Obviously, Aaron Donald is a beast, so I'm probably going to do something myself, maybe the Seahawks and the Rams on some kind of tease.
Goff is reemerging himself as a stud, so that's good to see, especially when you invest that money into him. He had a subpar 2019, so it's good to see him actually stepping up and playing well for them. So let's roll into our Week 4 pick'ems for a minute here. Let's check this out.
Yeah, just for the record, once they put Nick in, I was really rooting for your guys because if Nick would have played, I would have picked the Bears for sure. If he would have started that game last week, I would have picked them for sure. So
I knew they were going to win no matter who they put in.
Even though I had picked the Falcons, I was rooting for you guys just so you could have the glory.
If they don't make that switch, they don't win that game.
No, they don't.
You and JJ and everybody else were wrong. And the only person that was right was me. And we're going to leave out the fact that I didn't know.
I also picked the Bears.
I think Jake also picked.
I picked the Bears.
Anybody that picked the Bears to win, it doesn't really count because no one knew that. Unless you knew that Nick was going to come in.
I didn't bet on it, so
you got lucky. So.
I wasn't confident in that game. So
let's have a look here. Let's see what we got.
Let's have a look. Jake likes looking at this because his crown is at the top.
We're getting together. We're
pretty solid records here. I wish we had our tie in there though, because that looks so weird. When you have
I just pulled that one out altogether. I pulled that one out altogether because I said, hey, what's the point in having a 1 in that column? So so I pulled that one out. We're all inching closer and closer together. I made some really stupid picks last week.
Let me tell you something hilarious about that tie game. So I'm sitting there, I'm driving back. I'm getting ready for all the games. And I'm like, Cincinnati had a ridiculous record versus the Philly. Like, for whatever reason, obviously Burrow's playing with, hard, even though his old line is terrible. So I took the Bengals in the points. It was like +9 or something, +8.5. So the game goes to overtime. And it doesn't even matter what happens because I have the +8 points. So it was like perfect. Like the game ended in a tie. And even though it tied, I still won because I had +8 or 8.5. It was just hilarious. So I put that bet in the last minute. And it didn't even matter if they tied. I still won. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Hey, that's solid.
Yeah.
So we already made a bad decision this week. We finally, like you said, Johnny, when Week 4 rolls around, you really start understanding who teams are. Well, we all know now that the Jets are absolute garbage.
I tried. You switched your pick.
I switched my pick. I was thinking, I was thinking they might be able to beat a third-string quarterback, and having all the injuries they had, I was like, come on now.
I was just thinking Chubb rushing Darnold all night.
Right, and that was the tail of it. So already in the minus on that one, Greg and I. But it looks like we got Saints across the board. We got Bucks against Chargers across the board. I'm taking the Jaguars against the Bengals. You guys have the Bengals. I think DJ Shark is coming back this week, so I'm giving the head nod to that, and I am a James Robinson fan, so we'll see what happens. We got Minnesota, Houston. Johnny and I are taking the Vikings. Greg's taking the Texans. I have bet on the Vikings, I think, the past 2 weeks, expecting them to emerge. So I'm guessing that this is the case this week, but I hope they lose.
Are they practicing this week? Weren't they
that's another team that the Vikings. I'm kind of with you. Like, that was the other team that would basically have us almost undefeated on my picks. The Vikings really hurt us.
Oh yeah,
in the first week. Like, they make the playoffs, they get a victory, and all of a sudden, like, hello, like, I know you traded Diggs, but you still have Dalvin Cook. I guess the defense, if you think about it, they lost a lot of pieces on defense, especially on that D line. So
they lost Stefanik too. He is the head coach of Cleveland now, and he was their coordinator. So that could be paying dividends for them. So they were taking it to the Titans, and they ended up losing that one by a point, I think. Right? Wasn't it 31-30 in that one?
Yeah, that was a crazy. That was a crazy one.
Yeah, that was bad.
I see a Bear Truth 9 here asking a question.
I will get to his question here in a little bit once we get to the Bears game. I told him here he's firing away for you, but
all right, we'll check that out.
We got Chubbs chiming in on the Browns. He thinks we're all wrong.
Hey, well, we're getting into that one here.
Which one?
We're all taking Cowboys to beat the Browns. He's got the Browns are going to win. So fair enough. We'll see. I mean,
yeah, I'm not betting on the Browns.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to do that as well. So we all got. Say that again. I'm sorry.
We get 14 points. I might take them plus 14.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know.
So we got Seattle across the board against the Dolphins, Cowboys across the board, Browns, Cardinals against the board, Panthers, which that's a cross-country travel. We all have the Bears. I think the first time maybe this year we've all picked the Bears to win.
Nick,
maybe not.
I'm in with you guys now because Nick.
Yes, Nick is the truth.
Truth.
So we got
yeah, so that's where Bear Truth 9 wants to know from you, Johnny, in that Bears game, and you have them winning. You know, he wants to know, as a Chiefs fan, and you've been to training camps, you probably even seen him at camp as a Chief.
I have.
What do you see in Nick Foles?
Well, a lot of people don't know he was in Kansas City, as a backup before the Mahomes era. So I got to see him up close. I got to see him at training camp. He's obviously, pretty big dude, number one, it's good in stature, very smart. You could see by his interviews, that he's a very smart guy, very cerebral. And, just that how he told Miller on that play, like they're going to be coming. He knew they were going to be blitzing. And he's like, this is where you need to get, and you need to be ready. The ball's going to be there. I'm going to throw it to a spot. And he got to the spot, and obviously it turned out to be a great play and one of the best plays for the Bears this season, no doubt so far. Definitely. So he just has the ability to win big games. He's shown that, obviously, with his run when he took over for the now benched Carson Wentz, and maybe they're regretting not keeping him around now. I mean, I think I would. Maybe if it was up to Scott Peterson alone, maybe he would have kept, Nick. The ability to push the ball down the field, that changes everything. That changes the dynamic of the offense. If you know the guy's not going to push the ball down the field more than 5 to 8 to 10 yards, it changes everything. So he's a big time player. He's won big time games. He's got a Super Bowl ring. I mean, how could you not want that on your team? I mean, he also, I think, I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, that he's tied in NFL history for 7 touchdown passes in one game. I believe that's accurate. Somebody can fact check him.
Yeah, he did. It was in a week. It was in a week one performance, I believe, to start the year. And Bear Truth 9's doubling down on his questions. He's firing away at you, Johnny B. And he wants to know if he stays healthy for the rest of this season and he plays 13 more games, where do you see his stat line finishing as the Chicago Bears starting quarterback?
And what has he got? He's got 3 touchdown passes right now. Is that correct?
He's got 3 touchdown passes. He's 16 to 29. He's got 188 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
I'll put him at, like 30 and 12 the rest of the way. I won't know for yards. That'll depend on a lot of different things, where they're at in the games. I think it's with him not starting the season, I don't have a vibe for that yet. But I'll put him at like 30 and 12. Maybe 32 and 14 if the Bears continue to try to score. They push the ball down the field. I mean, you got, Robinson, you got Allen.
The weapons.
You got guys that can make plays. You got Graham that's looking good. I mean, obviously he got in the right place. And that's
the red zone.
I think that's why you got him, right? You got him for the red zone. Obviously he had a couple drops early in the year, but maybe that was nerves with a new team. Who knows? He hasn't been playing that great the last couple of years. I think he'll turn out to be a real nice surprise for the Bears. So that's right for him.
Unbiased opinion from Johnny B. This isn't no diehard Bears fan. This is an unbiased. He's sitting in his castle with his Super Bowl trophy. He could he might be throwing us scraps right now. Maybe he pities us peasants.
I feel more pity.
Did you know that the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer in their history? Did you know that, Johnny?
I did not.
Isn't that sad?
I did not know
Bear
that.
Truth 9 appreciates you.
What is the year 2020, right?
That's right.
Well, Bear Truth 9.
And we're the oldest franchise.
100 years.
League.
But you'll never forget our T formation. But Bear Truth 9 says he appreciates your input and expertise, and it is very, very, very smart expertise that you bring.
I can say that I don't necessarily call myself an expert. I follow the information, and I do as much research and homework as a lot of the guys that you see on TV, the big timers. I mean, watching games, watching replays of games, looking at matchups, because it's my money I'm putting on the line. So, I mean, that's the way it is. I don't do it necessarily to be right, but if you look at a lot of my old videos on Twitter and stuff, or when I'm at Chiefs games when we were allowed to go like regular, You'll see me call out scores that are crazy accurate sometimes. And like I said, I almost had that Chiefs when I had one of my buddies in Texas. He lives in Dallas. I don't know how far that is from you, Jake, but
3.5 hours.
He called me and he says, I need to know the score of the game. Him and his buddies bet together. So a lot of guys, what they'll do is if they want to make bigger wagers, they get like 2 or 3 buddies that they trust, with money and stuff, because people get weird about money, and they kind of pool all their money together and make these bets. And, they'll usually pick one bet each, and they usually have to agree on, and then maybe they have one bigger bet that they try to put more money on. And he texted me in the morning on the Monday Night Football, and he said, I need to know what the score of that game is going to be on Monday night. And I told him the score, and he took the Chiefs at money line. He took the Chiefs at -3, -6.5, and -9.5 based on my score prediction. And he had a nice afternoon for him and his boys. So
yeah, sounds like it.
I mean, it doesn't always work out like that. Obviously, there's always risk, but it was nice to be able to help a buddy out like that. And a couple of listeners, like I said, I'm assuming they were listeners, contacted me, and I kind of told them -6.5 would be a good way to make some money. Yeah, and it was over by halftime.
Damn right.
Money talks and bullshit walks. And speaking of bullshit,
let's wrap this up on these picks.
Yeah, speaking of bullshit, we got our guy Adam Gray, the Lions fan. He thinks that the Lions are going to shock the world. So I don't know about that.
Maybe they will.
Who are they playing?
They have
the Saints. I see it now. I couldn't even remember.
We shall see at home.
You're right. You got Galladay back. Detroit's definitely, that dome is a tough place to play. The only problem is the Saints also play in the dome. So I don't know. We'll see. You never know.
So I wrap this up real quick. We got Ravens over Washington. We got Rams against Giants. We got Chiefs against Patriots. We're a little split here. Johnny and I have Bills. Greg has Raiders. 49ers across the board against the Eagles. And Packers across the board against the Falcons.
I can't rarely ever cheer for the Raiders. It's like your guys' Packers. I can't.
It was hard to pick for.
I mean, I can pick the Broncos. I didn't want to pick them, but the Jets obviously are the Jets. I just felt that one. But the Raiders, unless it's for sure, I cannot pick the Raiders. Sorry.
Yeah,
it was hard to pick for the Packers. The Falcons are on the ropes, and it's like you want to try to think in your head how they're going to win the game because you don't want the Packers to keep winning while the Bears are, continuing their miracle start to this season. So, it's just how it is. So you got to pick the Falcons you pick the Packers when they're going to win. You can't fight fate. So that's how it goes. But
Ducks line up. Ducks line up.
Man, is that what I sound like? Man, that sounds better than I thought. Like that's the one thing. Like I think I don't have a broadcaster voice. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Ducks line up. Ducks line up.
That's amazing.
Well, we're trying to get this Chicago Bears, the Bears duck race going, but we have as you know, Greg, have had zero rain. I tried to do it yesterday, and it just did not. The rain did not come. I may not even be able to do my own Chiefs duck races this week. I got some prizes I'm giving away, and I'll still give away those prizes. You can check me out on my Twitter and see that contest if you're interested. But once we get that rain, I just talked to my guy. Those Jordan Jumpman prints are on the way. They didn't get here yet. There was a delay, but maybe by next week. And we get some rain, we're going to do it. I got all these Bears ducks. They're all ready to go. They're all with the Sharpie. I got the numbers. We got, I showed Ditka already, and I showed Sayers, the Kansas Comet last week in that tribute. We got some other good ones coming, and we're not going to give them all away. But once we get that rain going, I want it to be a good race for the first one. I don't want it to be slow.
Yeah, who knows how many you're going to get because it could be frozen by Halloween. So we got to get some in.
Check this out.
There you go, right there.
I got my bobbleheads up now. Finally behind me. There's Sayers and Buttkiss. So
very nice.
Buttkiss is in there too. I'll say that since you got him on that little bobblehead. Buttkiss is one of the Bears ducks.
There we go. We're looking forward to it. We appreciate you developing that segment along. It's coming soon, and make sure you follow along on Johnny B's YouTube channel. He not only is on Twitter, but he's also
there we go.
YouTube channel, and we have this banner here, this pretty little banner for everyone to know.
Yeah, and you can check out those. As we said before, you can check out those Bears versus Chiefs. There's a section if you go into library. I think it's called episodes or library. You can see the Bears versus Chiefs returners. So basically, it's Tyreek Hill, Dante Hall, Devin Hester, and Gale Sayers. So there's 5 races, goes down to the wire. Those are pretty good races. It was kind of early on, and I actually did it out of, in a tribute to Greg Braggs Jr. right there.
Oh, how nice.
And there's a couple maybe a little bit, sorry about Mahomes was in there.
You have
but
Dave
whatever.
Tobe. You got Tobe too. That's a sharp connection.
And I was thinking, Johnny, we could have talked about this off the air, but next Sunday, because the Bears play Thursday night against Tom Brady at home, big Thursday night showdown against the Buccaneers. So my Sunday's open, so maybe I'll come by and check out your new humble abode. I haven't done that yet.
You can come by, or if you want to do it right and have 82, 65, 65, I can sync those 3 TVs, and you can come over on Thursday.
Well, hey, we'll see. We got a lot.
You got a post game that Thursday
and everything else, and I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious, as they say. I'm not turning you down, but I do get a lot of people that ask me, "Hey, will you come over for a Bears game?" And it sometimes can be hard because I do have a certain
humble
routine.
brag.
If I'm not at the game, yeah, it is. It's a humble brag. Everybody wants
so many friends,
with me, Jake. So many friends.
Let me tell you something, Greg. Once you're a champion,
I do need to rub off that champion. I need to rub off some of that champion swag.
Yeah, once you're a champion, you're like, hey, I can watch this game here. I can watch it there. I mean, I guess we still have our superstitions. We all, as sports fans, we all have it. Like, I'm not even going to tell you all the crazy stuff I did last year. I had to wear this. I had to wear this shirt underneath the jersey. And, it's tough because we went from basically – 15 degrees for a couple of games in the playoffs to then in Miami, where somehow in Miami it turned out to be 78 degrees, perfect weather, barely a breeze for the game. And a lot of people, there's a picture of me out on the internet about when Damian Williams had the go-ahead touchdown, the last touchdown, the run where he held the ball up, where I'm kind of down and I'm like, finally, like it was just like relief.
Yeah.
And it's got, a picture of me, and you can see I'm wearing flip-flops. And people say, holy cow, bro, you wore flip-flops to the football game? And I'm like, hell yeah, I wore flip-flops to the game. It was in Miami. So it's kind of funny. I went from
it's going to be
75 layers to flip-flops in a week.
When Foles wins the Super Bowl this year, it's going to be a big relief. It's been so long.
It's going to be Foles versus Mahomes, Reed versus Nagy. And then we're going to run
the Chiefs are just going to be like, guys, you know what? We won last year. We're going to give this one to you.
Yeah, you remember what they said in Top Gun, though? Remember, boys, there's no points for second place.
And then they're going to run some kind of play where it's going to be like the Philly special, but it'll be with Mitch and
Mitch is the new Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, have you guys not seen all the crazy plays that we ran on Monday night? Did you see basically the Vegas roll the dice underhand to the sausage? They call that smoked sausage. That was the name of the play. Okay. And then
you want to call it the Vegas roll. I like that.
Right. It looked like a crack shoot at the craps table to me, like hot dice.
Yeah.
And then the other one to the Eric Fisher. I know Adam Gray, he was on here earlier. He played against Fisher, and it said that he used to be a tight end in high school. It said they were talking about it in the Chiefs kind of stuff. And they called that catch and release. Get it? Because he's big fish, catch and release. Right. That was the name of the play.
He used to dice up one Adam Gray on that football field back in the day. No doubt about it. So we appreciate all your hard work and time here.
Thank you, sir. As always.
Let me do my sign off.
You got it.
Remember, money won is far sweeter than money earned. Johnny B, peace out.
Oh, I cut him off.
Bring him back, Johnny.
Wait,
where'd you go? We got to take two.
Sorry, man. I thought you were done at that point. I was trying to do it really smooth.
Do it again.
I said, just remember, make that money. Everybody have a good, good week with bets. And I was in the zone. Now you just kind of killed it.
I'm sorry, man. I thought you were done. All right. Thank you, Johnny.
Every week. Yeah, we'll see you, Johnny. Good thing every week we will have Johnny B with us, and we're gonna nail it. By our 100th episode, Johnny will be smooth sailing. You'll be making tons of money, and we'll be hitting those like a well-oiled machine. That's what.
By the end of this, you'll be wearing gold-plated diapers.
That's right. So we are at the end of this, but we got a couple more things to bring out of the shop.
How about the winners?
and we have to announce the winners of the Bernie's Book Bank giveaway that we did for, of course, David Kaplan putting together the Unity Walk and Bernie's Book Bank, and my guy Darren over there, the CEO of Bernie's Book Bank, working hard for these guys and making books and providing Wi-Fi for underprivileged kids in the Chicagoland area. And it's a great service, and you can still donate to their charity. Here is Bernie's Book Bank shop. There's Darren to the left, and of course David Kaplan on the right. And that's kind of the stuff they do, is provide books. And as David said, we were able to raise over $80,000 on that walk. And you can still donate. It doesn't mean you can't, just because the walk's over, it doesn't mean you can't not donate, and you still can. All that stuff is still available. Here's the .com address. And it's just about helping these kids out. A lot of kids are at home e-learning, and they need this services now more than ever. I mean, Bernie's Book Bank's been around for years, but thank God, because in a year like this year, this is when they're sorely needed. Getting these books. When we were at the school, the principal was telling us, when the Bernie's Book Bank truck pulls up and they have all these new books, all the kids come running out and they're excited to get these books because now they have new stuff. Jake, I know it's been a long time since you and I went to elementary school, but you can remember going to the library, for that part of
the
school.
book fairs,
getting,
all that good stuff.
And getting a new book. It was exciting as a kid.
I used to get shark books all the time.
Right. We didn't have iPads back then. We watched TV, but the kids still read books. So this is what they do.
I used to walk to school 5 miles in the snow.
Absolutely. 15 miles in the snow. We used to learn so much. But yeah, again, this is my guy, Darren. Darren's wearing the Patrick Manley jersey. There he is, a Packer fan.
I thought something happened to Pat.
Pat,
I was like, oh no,
he's on the far right.
I know. I'm saying I said whoever's wearing the jersey, then Pat really lost some height and some weight in the off after he retired.
That's what's crazy to me, because Darren wore it, in honor of raising a certain dollar amount, and so he's a Packer fan. But it is snug on Darren, and as you can see, Patrick Manley is standing on the end. He is a very big man. So that jersey is his final game-worn jersey of his career, which unfortunately was when the Randall Cobb moment, Bears-Packers, which was a game I attended. But that is the jersey he wore for his final game, and he let Darren wear it on the final mile of this walk. And what's crazy to me, I asked Pat Manley, I'm like, how did you get your pads on and your whole body in there? Because I don't think it would fit on just my regular body without pads, and somehow it was very snug on Darren. So I found that to be very interesting. So without further ado, we wanted to
shrunk in the wash.
Part. Yes, we wanted to do our part here at Braggs in the Stands and do a giveaway and have some fun with the fans as we do, and that's just kind of my way to help. Cap asked for a little help, and this is my way, to give back to the fans that were contributing and supporting the cause for Bernie's Book Bank, and we appreciate your support. So we had a couple things to give away, and this was the first giveaway, and of course the second giveaway was the Anthony Miller helmet. So we will announce both of those. I'm not sure if
I got a banner pulled up for it.
Okay, so for the Anthony Miller helmet, the winner announced.
This one says both. The banner says both, so you might as well announce them both.
Okay, so we got the Anthony Miller and the Tariq Cohen jersey, and they're both great prizes, so we can just announce them both. And here they are.
Oh, there you hear it?
You got it.
Yeah, dude. Ta-da!
Bam! Anthony Sirigas and Ryan Cox. Yeah.
There's a gong. That's cool.
That reminds me of House of Kobe. I haven't been to House of Kobe in so long. Hibachi Grill, man. But yes, Anthony Sirigas. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. These names were given to me by our guys Darren and Kaplan.
Seems right. Sirigas.
Randomly selected Anthony Sirigas. I hope I'm getting that right. You get the Tariq Cohen signed jersey, and I'll get your information and send that along to you as fast as I can. And then Ryan Cox, and I have Kaplan sent me his information, and I believe it is, of course, I'm stalling, Jake. This is the stall.
Why are you stalling?
At CoxRyan89 on Twitter. So I will be informing you and Anthony Sirigas. You know, we have your information from your mailing stuff. So we appreciate it, and we will be sending those along. You get Anthony.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you again for your support to Bernie's Book Bank. And Anthony, you get the jersey. There it is, ready to go in its package. And then Ryan, you get the helmet. So, you know, that's the kind of fun stuff we do here at Brags in the Stands. We try to give back to the fans as best we can and do fun little things like that. So congratulations to both of you on your little prizes. And we'll have more
good for you guys
from all the other sports. So we teased some more stuff here before we completely jet, but we did tease that we have some new shirts. Again, you can get the Foles Royce hoodie. It's getting to be hoodie. It is officially hoodie season here in the city of Chicago. It's cold. It's going to be rainy on Sunday, so you can get your Foles Royce sweatshirt or shirt, and you know, show your support for our new QB1. Or you can get your Cash Mooney. I
thought I was going to have that shirt today. I ordered it, but it didn't show up.
He's going to go off Cash Mooney now in this Foles deep ball, dropping tier bucket dimes.
Oh, yeah.
The way down.
Mooney, big game this weekend, Mooney.
2 tutties for Mooney. Why not?
Oh,
I got to put in my official prediction to Kevin Caduck at the midday minute, so make sure you look out for that Sunday morning, and you'll get exact score and exact prediction of what I have the Bears doing, but I do have the Bears winning. So that's little graphics from Kevin Caduck. But yes, so the shirts.
One more.
Get your Mooney shirt. You can get your full shirt. But we have a brand new shirt to introduce to all of you right now. And I am very excited to put this out there because this has been in the works for a minute. And here it is.
Simple but true.
Bam. Let's
extend the man.
Extend AR, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a phrase thrown around a lot on Bears Twitter, and we are in full support of that as well. So we thought we'd put it on a shirt, and if you want to wear it to show your support, we are full out 10 toes down for Extend AR at Brags in the Stands, and you can get a few different options, and you just go to our gift shop, the Brags in the Stands gift shop. And we appreciate all your support. We have some cool stuff there for you. And you can get some different shirt color options, size options, sweatshirts, mugs, the whole bit. So you got.
And if there's something that you guys want, let us know. We can get you a different sort of shirt. You want a sweatshirt, you want a whatever, let us know. And if you have an idea for a shirt that you think would be cool, let us know. And if I agree with you, I'll make it up.
I like it, and
I'm right about. I think next it's going to be a Jalen Johnson. I think he is deserving
thoughts
of a shirt
works for Jalen, and we're going to hit the grindstone for all of those. We're excited for it. I thought I had where is our Teespring? We had a Teespring thing. I guess I deleted.
There it is, right there.
Damn, you got it. You're good. You're quick to the draw, too, because I'm, like, poking around at the comments. We're getting such great feedback from everybody, and we appreciate that. So, yeah, Bear Truth 9, loving the Foles Royce. Yeah, hey, no.
I'd be honored if you picked him up and you wore it. It'd make me feel good.
We hope we're not jinxing it because, you know, we did call, you know, Maserati Mitch. You know, and that ended up being more like Miata Mitch. I know some have made that joke, but we do have Foles Royce now.
Foles Royce, so that's ours.
Exciting. But we also have our eye on the prize with our guy, Allen Robinson. And you can get those shirts right now at our Brags in the Stands gift shop. And we're excited to have another shirt in the inventory. Jake is such a creative designer. And
stop it.
We appreciate that hard work and effort. He makes it look easy, but it certainly is not, ladies and gentlemen. So
yeah, that Extend AR shirt where I had to put text on it, that was tough.
It's not easy.
That was tough.
It's not easy.
Listen, not gonna lie.
I'm just trying to gas you up a little bit. That's what
You're such a sweet man.
I'm a gasser. That's what I am. I'm gassy. That's what.
All right, so here we go. Before we head out, we got to get. I know you're gonna put it in the midday minute, but I want to get your prediction. I'll give you my prediction. and then maybe we'll pick some Impact Bears before we head out. So what? Talking to me?
No, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have holstered that for a better moment, but
Hold it. Yeah. Well, you're kind of the king of the awkward. You love to do ducks line up like right Johnny mid sentence, and so your timing needs a little tweaking. We'll get there.
My videos still kind of lag when I hit them, so I'm getting a new computer here soon. But right
you
now
need internet connection. Don't worry about the computer.
Plugged into Ethernet, but I'm just telling you, there's a little lag.
Get faster internet.
I'm just trying to time everything up, but yeah. I'm sorry.
It's all in good fun. Hey, that's
if John Lovitz can make the show better, then I've done my part.
Hey, John Lovitz can make anything better. And shout out to Rick Moranis, who got punched in the head today. Wishing him a speedy recovery. Greg is sour on him for not making Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 3, but we still love him anyway.
That's right. That's right. So going back to your thoughts here on the Chicago Bears before we wrap this baby up.
Wrap it up. Put a bow on it. Time to go to night.
So what do you think?
So yeah, let me tell you, what's your well, let's do this first. Which two Bears had the biggest impact on Sunday, Gregory?
Which two Bears? Well, obviously the first one is Nick Foles. You can try to be clever and come up with some other name, but everything is all about the quarterback in this town, especially this season with this quarterback competition and how this whole quarterback transition unfolded last week. So all eyes are on Nick Foles against a team that has a little more respectability than the teams they've faced here these first 3 weeks. So can Nick Foles come out and put 7s on the board instead of 3s? That's going to be what everyone wants to see. It's exciting. The biggest question is whether or not the rain and the weather is going to cooperate on Sunday. That's my biggest question as far as how
Foles loves it.
The how and the why of Sunday for me, that's the hardest question. I have to wake up Sunday morning, honestly, and see what the weather is like to truly give you a clear indication. But I believe that Nick Foles is able to get the Bears into 4 scoring opportunities. I can see the Bears winning 31-17 if it's a dry day. If it's a wet day, I could see the Bears winning a little more of a slugfest at 21-13 or 10, somewhere around there. That's where I'm hovering if it is indeed going to be a crappy day. So my first one is Nick Foles. My second one is going to have to be Eddie Jackson. I'm ready for that pick 6. He did not get it. He got it taken away from him in week 2, I believe, or week 3. They're all started week 2 against the Giants. And I'm just ready that you saw the pass rush getting after it. And once Nick Foles kind of breathed life into this team again, you saw them get the interception at the end. They didn't make it interesting. The defense didn't let them travel all the way down the field, for that final play. Thank God we at least got to get out of there with the W that way, And so now I want to see Nick Foles giving this team a lead early, letting the defense play more aggressively, letting this pass rush run wild like they have the last few weeks. Khalil Mack, I got my Khalil Mack jersey up there now. We switched out old Mitchie Mitch, and we're putting in the real deal.
Goodbye, Mitch.
The real deal Holyfield of the Chicago Bears.
Face of the franchise, Khalil Mack.
That's right. And Bear Truth 9, we did not plan this. He also, he's throwing out a lot of names, but he also had Monty in there. But I'm right there. It's Khalil Mack. I'm going for the superstars. I could try to get clever for you, Jake, and you're welcome to do that since I took the big superstars. But Eddie Jackson, for me, is got to be the guy. If the pass rush is going after it like they have been the last couple weeks, and now we're playing with a more consistent lead with consistent points being put on the board, now Eddie Jackson can do what he does best and bait a quarterback into a moment where he gets a pick 6 and separates the score of that game to where now all of a sudden the Bears are sitting pretty. That's what I'm looking at for Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get a pick 6 off Phillip Rivers. Yeah,
Phillip's going to give him a couple of chances.
How about you, Jake? Who do you
I think the Bears watched the Chiefs game. They watched them shut down the run against the Ravens. They were inspired. So we're going to see a incredible effort by that D front to shut the run down. And I'm going to give my tip of the cap to Bilal Nichols, and I'm going to give him some props and say he's going to show up and be a big impact player. He's been due, and I think this team is motivated to do something against this team. So I'm going to say, Bilal, I'm going to give you the tip of the cap to have a great game. And then I guess, the other part, it's just going to have to be Mac. I know we didn't really go on Mac, or you mentioned it, but I'm not going to say Foles because you did, but Mac, if he can terrorize the quarterback like he did last week, I feel quite confident about this game. So if they can be stout against this O-line, I think they win the game, no problem.
Yeah, to me, the key will be how they stop the run. You heard David Kaplan, our special guest of the night, mention them with gap integrity and not letting these guys get loose. Not having Eddie Goldman there hurts. But as long as they can hold that down, Mac should be able to run wild. Now, last year when Phillip Rivers came to town against the Chargers, they were getting the ball out really quickly. So, that's where like an Eddie Jackson can jump a route, or a Kyle Fuller can jump a route. You got to be ready for that kind of stuff. You can't just give them the underneath forever and let them, pin, dink and dunk their way down the field, that bend but don't break stuff that we've been seeing since 2004. Fine, but I'd like to see some plays being made. That's what we want to see, some aggressiveness.
That's the one thing that, I think I've hung my head on every single week that I've picked the Bears to win is I think they have the best secondary in the league, or damn near the best secondary in the league. And I feel very confident about them to get the job done, especially against the Colts wideouts, because I know I forget who it was. They lost one of their guys to surgery. Mo Alley Cox is a big target. He can get some damage done, but I think our corner should be able to hold their own against what they're bringing out. So I feel pretty confident. I do love this defense. They gotta get their run defense together.
Okay, well, do you got any final thoughts before we wrap this baby up and then I ramble on into the shout-outs?
I'm going to just say Bears 31-21.
Okay, well, we've got Bear Truth 9 having a 34-17 Chicago Bears victory. And as I just said, I'm kind of wishy-washy as far as what the weather forecast is. I haven't officially put my pick into Kevin, and I'm going to do that tonight because he's got to write his article out, and I don't want to keep him waiting. So I'm kind of leaning 31-17 or 21-13, depending on what the weather is telling me when I give it one last look before I make my final submission to the Midway Minute and our guy Kevin Kaduck. And we appreciate him allowing us to put our picks in. I'm 3-0 so far, so I'm looking good. I like this. 3-0, but now we have a new quarterback, so I'm going to have to figure all that out and see
Loving it.
How far I can go now with my winning streak with Nick. So excited for that. Excited for the Bears game on Sunday. The Cubs are out. The Sox are out. The Bulls did get a new head coach, so there's some new fresh beginnings for that. But it's all eyes on the Chicago Bears here for the rest of the year. Hopefully 2020 can finish strong because it's been a rough one to start. But we're having fun here at Brags in the Stands, and we appreciate everyone joining us in the chat. All of you, especially the ones that stuck around for the whole thing. Can't thank you enough, Bear Truth 9, for your support and your representation. You're always representing me well. And Chebs82, you're the man. We appreciate your passion and support for the show and your passion for these Chicago sports teams.
Absolutely.
Evan Wells, Adam Gray, all these guys in the chat, Alex Acevedo. I could go all day long. We really appreciate everybody hanging out and listening to us ramble on, talk about sports. Thank you to our guests, David Kaplan of ESPN 1000 and NBC Sports Chicago, my guy. And we walked 29 miles through the city of Chicago, and I would have walked another 29 if he had me, because that is one great dude, and he has always supported us here, and can't appreciate that enough. So thank you again, David Kaplan. And what a promo he gave us for the show. We're going to have to figure out how to integrate that here going forward. Cut that tape up. So again, appreciate to David Kaplan for that. And Johnny B, our guy Johnny B, who's always hanging out doing his thing. He's still backstage. There he is. Johnny B for 3. He's the man making you money off your couch. We appreciate Johnny B always.
Absolutely.
And
Johnny's
Jake,
the man.
I love you, Jake. So appreciate you, all your hard work. Thank you for pulling up and getting that Extend AR shirt for the masses. Everybody's excited for it. And there I go talking through the music.
Talking through the song again.
Make sure you get your
Start
shirt.
it up.
And that'll do it for
That'll
tonight.
do it.
We will see you on Sunday for maybe some pregame show, definitely some postgame show, and we're going to always enjoy our Chicago Bears football. 3-0 Chicago Bears, looking to be 4-0. That'll do it for Brags in the Stands this week. We'll be back Friday nights, every Friday night, but check us out this Sunday for more fun.
Hey,
coverage.
this week we might have to do a Wednesday night. We got a Thursday
That's
night
right.
game, so we'll probably do Wednesday night.
So we'll talk about all that on Sunday.
Or who knows?
We got the Thursday night game. We got 2 games coming up in the next few days, and this is a big moment and a big turning point here for Chicago Bears and what they're going to do this season. So looking forward to it. Appreciate all your time tonight. Appreciate everybody joining us. Thank you to our guests. Thank you to our viewers. And that's it for me rambling on. Signing out. Chicago Bears always bearing down. And God dang it, I had one more thing, and it's my mom and me.
This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot.
I love your mom. She's like, how do I do this? You're embarrassing the hell out of her.
That was my final thing. I got to play every video I put it in. I can't help myself.
Yeah, I know.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you
Thank you
soon.
very much. Talk to you soon. Bear down.
Bear down.